Welcome to Chiroto Career Compass Chronicles with your host, Stephen Bwete. In today's world, education and career paths are more open to everyone, but the choices can be overwhelming. That's where mentors make a difference. At KCI Chiroto Consults International, that's exactly our mission, to simplify international career matters for you. On this podcast, we want to emphasize the importance of finding the right career path amidst the abundance of options. Our expert mentors provide personalized assistance to help you make informed decisions about your future career. This is to ensure that you can embark on a journey that aligns with your passion and aspirations. With our dedicated support, you can confidently navigate the intricacies of career exploration and make well-informed choices that pave way for your success. Tune in for expert guidance if you're intending to pursue your dreams abroad. We will help you to find the right academic destinations, the institutions that are suitable for your budget, courses that meet your talents and enjoyment, as well as employers that matches your purpose. Thank you.
Right. So a good afternoon to you wherever you are. Good evening. My name is Stephen Bwete from Chiroto Consults. Today, I'm very delighted and honored to have a person that I call a friend, a professional, an educationist, an international education evangelist, Mr. Damola. It's the first episode this year of the Chiroto Consults Career Chronicle Compass, which is about highlighting the key aspects of international education. We look at trends, we look at challenges, we look at opportunities that are emerging in this. And the main idea is always to connect with like-minded people. It could be educators, or it could be the agencies who are on the other side, who are providing students. And today, I would like to talk to Mr. Damola. And the main reason for that is that he's very, very much active in the field of international student movement. Our relationship goes way back, I think 7-8 years ago, where we started working together on promoting the German study destination, particularly in Nigeria. We had a lot of success. And at some point, there were some challenges, mostly which had to do with visa issues or visa appointment issues. But throughout the time, we have been in touch and we've learned a lot from each other. The reason I want to have this conversation, in the education industry, we tend to look at ourselves as agencies or as consultants, as competitors, which is not actually, which shouldn't be the case, because our job is to give value to students and parents, and there are plenty of them. The international education industry is here to stay. It has always been there, and we can only play the little part. By collaborating and working together, I believe we can edify, we can challenge, we can inspire each other, and we can also have a very strong voice together as providers in this industry. So thank you so much, Mr. Damola, for accepting to join me. And also those that are listening in. I would like to give you a minute or more to briefly tell me about yourself and the work that AOC Schengen does.
Well, thank you, Stephen. It's an honor. Basically, I did Damola Oloketui from Nigeria, but we fast forward to the professional light, studied aviation here in Germany. Then got into the industry because I've always loved sales. Had my first chance with IUBH, the school I studied in. They didn't have many students on campus that period. Then, long story short, I was able to start working with them to bring students. So when we started the whole movement of Germany, it was very strange when we go back and say Germany, because the UK, Canada, US has always been very popular. So it was a very difficult thing. That's always been the difficulty in promoting the Schengen region, because you're moving uphill battle. When you have gotten 2 UK or 5 UK students, you're just getting 1 German student because you would have talked and talked and talked. So, but we got used to it. After I worked with Gizma, on a more senior position in charge of Africa. Then started AOC Schengen, I think 7 years now only. And here we are today.
Brilliant. It's a very interesting experience coming from the other side of educator. So meaning you really understood, first of all, as a student, as an international student,
Yeah.
and then from an education perspective, you know what it means to work with agencies from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And now moving on to work as an agency,
Exactly.
something that I myself also did, like 10 years working on the other side as an educator and then moving on the other side.
Yeah.
I would like to go a little bit deeper, Mr. Damola, if you would, to understand what really inspired you then to start AOC Schengen, because you're already very successful. I know your record as an educator, you are getting big numbers of students.
Yeah.
What did you see as the gap that led you to go in the other side or on the other side as an agent?
My parents thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy when I was leaving because I had quite a successful career. And I was getting students. I was getting agents, getting students. You understand? Basically, even agents do shakara for me. I'll be able to get that student. Then limits came with flexibility. I work unconventionally in the realms of being ethical still. But before I started this whole thing with like I was at the school, I wanted to shoot videos to tell them, okay, maybe we can get more students. Then everybody's like, no, take your time. And I'm like, do you understand? So maybe that spirit in me still, I always just wanted to still do my own thing later. And maybe I was moving too fast. And everybody was trying to always say, calm down, this thing. I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'll just take the risk on myself. And I was able to put all that energy into my own thing. That's basically it. I think that's what really inspired. That's what really inspired it. I just wanted to express myself more in a more creative way. Yeah.
That's a powerful statement. You wanted flexibility and also to discover the abilities that you probably couldn't fully utilize in that limited environment. But I felt also partly this being my major reason to move on to start Chiroto Concerts, because when you are working as an educator, of course, you are representing this institution. Your main and primary goal is to bring results and to show commitment and loyalty to that brand. But in the course of that period, of course, you see a lot of other options and providers and opportunities for students. And I understand over the years working with you that you are one person who puts students at the forefront, at the center of everything that you do.
Yeah.
So could this have been or partly your motivation of knowing I want to widen the offer for all my students? I want to be able to give them more than this particular brand.
I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, the thing is, every student cannot fit for one program or one school. So variety within a sphere with like minds will always be good for them. So these are part of the things. And not every student was going to study a course that they have in your current place also. So you create more options for them. That's part of creativity.
Right.
Students first. Without them, is the chicken and egg situation. Without them, nothing can exist. Even the school is there. If the students are not there, it cannot work.
That's
so
right.
The students are first every time.
That's right. So going now a step forward in the industry that you and I are operating in, international student movement or international education, and connecting this back to, let's say, the country where your stronghold is, Nigeria. What do you think is the role of international education, or which role does international education play in shaping global perspective? And how does this contribute to the individual lives, or let's say students in Nigeria, and also the society growth as in general?
I mean, we do backward integration. If there are a mismatch of skills, some industries cannot run because there are some certain industries have to run across certain different departments that have to run for there to be productivity and continuity. If there is concentration on one side of the wheel circle, let's take it as a wheel circle, then there's glut in one side, then there's lacking in one side. Hence, the lack of opportunities in a certain or skills to fulfill an opportunity in a certain different sector. So it starts from the beginning. We're like guardians and counselors. Starting, that is the original. Those are the forefathers of the prehistoric forefathers of it. As a guardians and counselor, you're supposed to point the direction in which the person can go socially, economically, and the future of what the economy should be, or even the person himself, his own being an economy on its own. Do you understand? So we are very important in pointing the direction of where the student is supposed to go and study and what role they have to go and play. And in an ideal situation that we were working with the government on a larger scale, it would have made more sense, because now we know that, oh, this amount of students are studying this. Okay, this is what we need in the next 5-10 years. These positions. Okay, let people study this thing now. Not people going into computer science now in 2025, only to graduate in 2029 or 20, what's after that now? Then 2030 to see that computer science has expired. Because you find out that parents that pay feel their guardians and counselors, and this whole thing causes lack of job opportunities and everything. In fact, even our industry is supposed to be taught in universities by now. It's an industry on its own. There's supposed to be actually educational consulting as a subject in schools. I don't know why no university that needs educational consultants every time is not teaching educational consulting.
You're touching something very important, Mr. Damola. Actually, I'm just thinking about it, which is a very good question. Why isn't international consultants or agency or travel consultants, why are they not well integrated into the national frameworks of the countries?
Yeah.
Even as a science of itself, because you're mentioning like the national priorities when it comes to nation priorities.
Yes.
Let's say Nigeria as a country, looking at the national priorities, what are the key priorities now? Let's say you are to be guiding the country, or you are to provide some level of consultancy, as in what are the next big trends in international or in economic growth and development that Nigeria should prepare to tap into, and how could the students be prepared right in school, later on at universities? Those who want to go even abroad, what should they be studying in as far as coming back and building their national development or developing their own economies?
See, this thing is a very relative thing. We can look at it two ways. We can actually study a lot of things in our countries for us to use it to build stuff back home, but you need investors for it to be worthwhile, because after studying, you need to earn a lot. That's why a lot of people travel. There's nothing like special really abroad. You go there majorly to get a higher return on investment on your career places. If you're abroad, career is the best thing for you. If you are back in Africa, business is the best thing for you. You might not get the top of a career when it comes to financial reward. That is just the difference between the two worlds. Long story short, to answer your question, I can do it in two ways. Number one, build resources and export talent to apart and make their standards meet. And I don't even know the meaning of these standards, because it's a double standard thing when you want to come abroad. Sometimes they'll say it's good. If you want to come for masters and pay school fees, they'll say you're good to go. But if you want to come and work, they'll say that the system is not there. So I will make it apart, then exports to bring back, which I'm importing back resources, financial resources back into the country. Then, or I build, they go and train outside and they come back to Nigeria and come and build better also. So those two things.
So the way, if I understand you correctly, you're thinking of how can we harmonize the education systems?
Yes.
To be sure, or to make sure that when we prepare students back home, they meet the standards one-to-one that side.
Exactly.
In that way, it facilitates easier integration into the job market.
Yes.
But also, if the same people want to come back home, it's easy for them again to integrate, because it's also possible that you study something. Let's say someone does taxation, business and taxation in Germany, and goes back to Nigeria, and you come back home, in a totally different environment where the taxation that you learn from Germany, I know a real life experience, someone who came from Ghana, did taxation and went back there and could not even see how best he could use his skills and knowledge there, because everything is totally different. Or someone who has studied law and is coming back there and they're asked to have to go back through the chamber and then re-study or do some back courses there. So you're saying if we are to change something, then it should start back home, harmonize the system, learn, partner with those institutions, and then from there, we can export labor because we got enough of it. But even those who want to come back later on to invest, to start their businesses, they can easily use their skills back home in a much smooth way.
Yeah.
But in the same discussion, you've touched something also which I find very important, Mr. Damola. Making sure that we do not give value for free, like what we normally do, like you're saying, we are actually giving free value. Now going into the real operative things of education consultancy, I wanted to know from your side, you are very active as the founder and the brain behind AOC Schengen. And you're very active on ground, you're very active internationally, and we have shared platform on many occasions as an international speaker. How do you manage to do all this and still being very strong back home in Nigeria? And I know you spend a lot of time in Germany, but how do you manage to keep your ground stable in Nigeria?
Me, myself, or the operation of the business? Which one?
Yourself and the business in general.
Myself, I don't even know how I do it. I think I walk around the clock and I don't even feel it because I'm passionate about it. I basically don't even have a social life, only on a very few occasions, but I'm used to it already because there's a goal, there's a vision. I'm not even close to where I need to be, no matter how much I think I've achieved. So maybe that is my own driving force. And while we're still young, let us push. On the Nigerian side, I go very often, at least 5 times. It's a lot of air flights to Nigeria and everything. But you put reliable people on ground. I've had my own fair shares of ups and downs. Last year was upper year to last year had its own shakiness when it comes to getting the right talent on ground, because that's a difficult thing in Africa. It's quite a difficult thing. But that has been able to stabilize from middle last year, and it can only get better. You live, you learn, but it will always involve systems and being on ground and being involved and knowing every angle of your business also. So in case anything happens, you know where the problem is.
Right. Yeah, you're getting the right talent in this industry with a lot of fluctuation, a lot of movement from one consultancy to the other. We know this very well.
Every staff has an expiry date.
Yes.
You just have to know.
Yes.
You just have to
how
know.
do you manage to motivate your staff to ensure that they keep loyal to you and to the students they serve and to your partners? How do you assure that?
When it comes to motivation, first of all, how would I even say it? People that are motivated are motivated. Don't let me act like if you are motivated, they are motivated.
Yeah.
There's little or nothing that you can really do. You can only you can motivate the person that is
already motivated.
Or motivate the person. I'll be able to say it in English. you can only motivate the person that is already motivated. You cannot do the person that is demotivated. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an answer.
I agree with you. In this industry, I think there is no school where you go and study how to become a great, successful study consultant. Now, looking at the study destinations, you and I know that the market is so dynamic and there's nothing static. The market that was yesterday #1 today could be 2 or 3 and so on. So what do you see as the next movers, or which markets do you see as the big next markets for your students, and which factors would you attribute that to?
For my own region, I will always say I've always stuck around a certain region. I've played with the popular markets before, but honestly, me myself, I came back because I don't know what is wrong with me.
Mm.
I can't just still, as of today, get myself to sell another region. I don't know what is wrong.
Mm.
I can't get myself to sell the UK. I can't get myself to sell Canada or US. If I gas myself up 1 week, I will not do it again. I'm just stuck to that shit again. I don't know why.
Mm.
Maybe I'm losing money on the table. Oh, I don't know. Do you understand? So, but I feel like I'm just betraying everything, everything when I just. So it's like I'm just stuck to my region. So in my own region now,
Mm.
what do I see is the future? I mean, Spain has started picking up a lot.
Mm.
Malta is picking up a lot. Do you understand? When
Mm.
it comes to that,
Mm.
Greece might be in the nearest future. Do you
Right.
understand? When it comes to that,
Mm.
places like the Netherlands has always been.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. Do you understand? So Schengen is even increasing to 28 now or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So this is all I've known for the last maybe like 8 years, you understand, or 10 years totally in the whole
Right.
industry. So
Right.
just these regions I'm used to. So those are the regions I feel would pick up. Do you
Mm.
understand?
And
Uh,
for students who are not so keen or interested in these regions or who even never thought about them, what would you see as the key factors that are making these countries emerge as interesting destinations to consider?
so let me tell you one thing about Schengen region. If you really need to get into this region,
Mm.
Europe, Europe market, I'm sure you know, is the most, how will I say this in I'm thinking about this in German and English now. Is
Mm.
the industry that rewards the less. It's not financially rewarding.
Correct. Mm.
What do I mean by financially rewarding? And the question is now, why are you inside if it's not financially rewarding? I will explain it to two ways.
Mm.
What you get from the UK or any other thing is higher when it comes to remuneration based on schools. And again, going back to your question is
Mm.
the schools invest in marketing already or as a destination is being popular.
Mm.
So that's what comes to mind. It's like in your country now, when you think of milk, there's one milk that comes to your mind because they have done branding and awareness. So if you want to get into this region, you have to have a lot of money
Mm.
to pour into it.
Mm.
But can you compete with the money that you're going to spend in 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 this in this region? You would have gotten further with the other one.
Right.
So what's making the answer your question, what's making it more popular is because they are more popular and the organizations or the government has really invested in their study abroad program. Like UK has been for years,
Mm.
US has been for years. They have very distinct. It's just people like Camper France that are trying to come up and everything, but
Mm.
it's not as aggressive.
Right.
It's not as aggressive. You don't even see a lot of Schengen schools coming on ground to do road shows and all these things or
Mm.
big fairs. No.
Mm.
So if these schools actually do these things or are more open to partnerships, in fact, some Schengen schools regions you will beg for for partnerships before you get in.
Mm.
So to answer your question, they are not as aggressive. The European market is not as aggressive as the other market, and they don't invest in marketing as much as this market. I don't know if that answers your question shortly.
Absolutely, it does. And you almost touched the point I wanted to go to,
Yeah.
because promoting a destination or making a destination attractive is a long-term process. Like you
Long term.
mentioned, the UK, Canada, US, Australia, these are destinations that have been selling even way long before you and I were born.
Yes.
But there is a lot of investment and very intentional investment into that. So for people like you who are sticking to your guns, you're saying, I want to promote the Schengen region. What do you think would be the role of educators in helping to see that we are supported in promoting these destinations? Which areas of support do you think are very key to making these destinations attractive?
For schools, Abby,
Yes.
they should just put themselves out more there. It makes my talking easier.
Mm.
Finish.
Mm.
They should just be more active on ground. Come on ground more. Visit more. Do you understand? Let be a household name
Mm.
on ground. Invest.
Yeah.
The investment level is very poor.
And that
And
means it's not like a one-off thing of just coming one time show off, but
no.
consistency of the.
Make your admissions faster. Make your, I mean, you can imagine a school that you have a student that is paying 25,000 euros at once. And this school is delaying admission for a month and a half.
Wow.
And it was not like this before, but now you're making it like this.
Wow.
It will never happen in any of this popular. As you are doing like this, bam, you are waking up the next morning, you are getting your admission letter for other region. Because time is everything.
Time is everything.
So you can imagine how much, or you get funny with commissions. Even the commission is low, and you are saying that you get commission because most schools in Shagari region pay commission at the end of the program 1 year, not even beginning or anything. Marketing supports very low. So a lot of all these things, it's a whole chain of things. Basically, you're on your own with the Shagari region, you're running your own ecosystem. So that kind of support is supposed to be needed.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. And Mr. Damola, you have experienced success, high success, much success in particularly for the German market.
Yeah.
Let's say until 2018 when things used to work. So how has AOC Schengen managed to keep successful despite all these disruptions, the visa process there, and then the pandemic, which definitely affected very much everything that we're doing?
It's like, just be prepared for everything that's going smooth today. Prepare that something can just happen tomorrow. So being prepared, having that in mind, then diversifying across other Schengen regions. Those are the other things that have helped.
Very important.
Like Italy, and be ready for any changes. Do you understand? Like Italy, France, you understand? Spain, these are markets that helped to balance. Do you understand? Then we have a lot of clients that went to Netherlands also. And Switzerland also. Yeah. Way more expensive, but do you understand? We had that.
Very important. Diversification is very important.
Yeah.
And also passion, the passion to keep doing that, what you're doing, even with little or less than you used to get out of it. And speaking of Germany, especially considering the investment and the effort that you put in over the last 7-8 years, what makes you feel convinced that this destination is worth considering for any agent out there or for students?
Germany, one of the best countries in the world. Germany made me what I am. Germany, I will be forever grateful. If I didn't even come to this country, I don't even know. This country, no. It's a very good country. It's, trust me, nowhere is perfect. Do you understand? But if you push here, you will get. If there's no how. I mean, when I went to school in a whole set, when you know IUBH school fees was crazy that time, about 12,000, even at 2014, about 12,000 euros per annum, and you did a 2-year program. Then you do blocked account of maybe 10K that time or so. So even though you're coming that time, you're running an MBA program or running a master's, you still spend 40,000 euros. But I was privileged to have that with my parents. Thank God they could pay. But everybody in my set found a job after school. I did not even. First 6 months is the first time I found a proper job here. I started working first 6 months as an intern already. Before I graduated, I already had my contract with IUBH. I was already working 6 months before. So I unfortunately cannot say anything bad because it has been good.
Yeah.
And you do this, you get your permanent residency. You do this, you push. You understand? The same is not perfect. But at the end of the day, if you can fight and you get all your things out of it, it's the best place ever. Now they have reduced the years of the passport lower now from 8 years to 5 years for those. If you integrate, you speak the language. I'm always afraid of you because I don't know how many languages you speak. Do you understand? We speak the language. I learned the language here too. So Germany is everything for me. Germany is home now. Germany is it's a good destination.
Yeah.
It's a very sane place.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And it's a stable economy. And if things get worse, you can always find something to do here. You understand? It's a good place.
What do you think most people miss to understand about Germany as a destination?
The thing is, let me tell you the secret. This is like a geheimness. When you think,
I like that.
Like when you think that this country has so many barriers, language and everything, that thing, or the visa is too hard, that's when something sweet is inside.
Right.
It can't be hard for nothing now. it can't just be difficult for nothing, or the barriers cannot look so heavy or something. Literally, people don't know that you can actually be in Berlin and survive on English. They don't even know. I'm sure you know this now.
Sure.
Most people, when they even see you, say they start speaking English before they speak German, because the vorurteil is there. Like they have already the mindset that you speak English. Although yes, learning the language is important, but people think of so many barriers in their head. Focus on the popular destinations, and it would not be proper. I use one analogy. I formed a theory. I say there's class A, class B, class C visas. Class class A visas are visas that most likely on the first trial you will get it.
Right.
Places like Germany, Netherlands, Johnson, those other places you get it.
Mm.
Class B is like Spain, Malta, do you understand, UK and everything. But
Mm.
class C is like Canada, US. If you like try 5 times, it's possible that you not get it.
Mm.
For Germany, I'm sure you know the many cases that we had a student, maybe he got refused once, all of a sudden he just wrote a letter, all of a sudden, bam, show motivation and everything.
Mm. Mm.
So if you can get in here.
You and I have worked on some number of cases, even
Yes.
complicated student cases, yeah,
Yeah.
especially from Nigeria. I would like you to help me or anyone listening in to understand, how would you describe that feeling of success in this industry?
When the student is here and doing well, I see statuses of my students. Like the day one of my students, Wumi, she sent me a picture, and that was even through you guys, our own help, that we did collaboratively.
Mm.
And she came to your school that period, you understand? She sent
Mm.
me a picture as a nurse. I was so happy
Mm.
because this girl, right from Nigeria, used to do volunteer jobs.
Mm.
And this girl practically even waited for like a year and a half. But you see where people are in Nigeria, and you see when them come here, they have a lot of money, but it's not like it's automatic to get a visa.
Right.
So the money is irrelevant if you don't come into the right hands. One rep told me one thing that people don't know how lucky they are sometimes. I'm not saying it's out of this way his own words.
Mm.
People don't know lucky are there when they come through you, because they paid you a lot of money to do this whole thing and it worked. Because they can pay the same amount of money to somebody and nothing will happen.
Mm.
You ruin somebody's life.
That's
So I'm happy that God has put me in a position that they can bring money, I can help them invest it properly,
Mm.
and they got a good return on their investment. That is my joy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that I
Mm.
see on the road, or maybe this thing. I go to Berlin, a lot of students I've taken,
Mm.
and they are so happy. They hold me, you understand, with gist and everything. It's joy for me.
It's joy. What drives you always personally? And this is a very personal question to you. What is that key drive that you have that says, I want to see this student get to their destination of choice? What is it that you're always looking for? What keeps you moving?
I mean, let's even go to even the Bible. Say, let me just even divert a bit. Like, too much is given, much is expected.
Mm.
I've been put in a certain position to help people with some certain things. I was
Mm.
given a responsibility. I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be on earth to be.
Mm.
I have to fulfill this obligation for the student. Not everybody will get a visa, but do it with a clear mind that you have done your best.
Mm.
I don't sleep at night when my student is not all right, like done properly. I'm not saying this out of this. My students know.
Mm.
Even though someone has paid for a service, he didn't get it and everything, we'll look for a solution to make sure that the return on investment is done. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal thing. I just need to see this whole process through. It's a better feeling. The person is happy, you are happy, everybody's happy.
And in fighting for students, of course, you're not only fighting with these big institutions as well, you're also fighting with schools and admissions office, with the regional representatives and so on. How much help do you think needs to be given to agencies in this fight to be sure that whichever application that we have started comes to a successful end?
Let me tell you something. There are very few schools I work with,
Mm.
and that's just because of their attitude. Some of them like this. If a school today have been giving them students all of a sudden, no matter how, and I see that things are getting because in fact, if I don't even want to do it, I have to do it because they will come and spoil your reputation. Some schools don't care. So you have to cut off. So they have to actually, when there's problem, refund the students. When everything, how can you be holding students' money? All these very funny things. Some schools are just very funny.
Mm.
So it plays a very big role. They have to care about the student because all of them just look at the student as invoice number.
Mm. Mm.
You have gone to go and bring the student.
Right.
You now make the person vouch for you. It's not fair.
Mm.
So some schools have to actually wise up when it comes to that.
Yeah. And something also I would like to add on, Damola, is like when they do whatever they do, you still are the face of the school in front of the student and the parents. And no matter what happens, some of these representative or the admissions department, they can sleep well at night knowing that no one is going to WhatsApp them at midnight or at 2 a.m. But you are one person who is always responsible for these calls, for these WhatsApp and these harassing messages. So what message do you want to give to people that might maybe listen to this, say, take this as if it is you who is waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning answering these calls? What do you think they need to know from the agent's perspective?
Agents work very hard to get students,
Mm.
more than you can imagine. If it was so easy, then they should do it themselves. Because it's a matter of, if schools had a real chance to actually get rid of agents, they would have done it. Do you understand? But agents do a lot of work, so please just give them their respect.
Mm.
Just give them their respect. Give them their respect. Give them, because you would have market. Yeah, you say you're paying commission, but if we speak in statistic number, thank God I'm foreign educated. Do you understand? At the end of the day, that amount of money would have spent more. You are running a whole, you say you pay 10% or 15%, that whole 10, 15%, thank God for it. But you are running a whole system, staff, marketing, everything, and you're getting a student. And you're only issuing out 10. That other person has to go and work with his 10 or 15 to make it work. So it's not revenue. We're looking at profit margin. So even financially, it's not as high. Reputation wise, you can kill that agent. So please just support properly. And schools should learn to put the proper people in a proper place. Somewhere like the African destination is a very sensitive destination. You put us, our kind there, that understands us, that knows how to talk, that knows how to relate. It's very important. It is the beginning and end of any school. When any school thinks they can just pay salary to anybody of any ethnicity to run the African market, they will run that place down in a matter of a while.
Yeah.
So schools should support properly. We're not, sometimes everything is not about money. Support means fast admission, refund in time, answer questions, do everything. I mean, we're doing all these things to bring the student. Just do the proper thing.
Well, that's interesting that you just mentioned. So respect and understanding that we are in this all together and for a long term. It's not just a one-off commission and then it's over. It's really a process, and it's like a project. It's an ongoing project with different milestones. But even up to the point a student has arrived on their campuses, they still come back to you when they have problems. So yes, maybe you have the 10 or 15%, but this person is still part of your life, and you're interested in helping them also to solve problems, even when they have already gone out of your hands. So I think the agencies really do a lot, and they deserve that respect. Yeah. Would like to wind it up, Mr. Damola. I know
Yes.
it's been almost an hour now, but going into the education industry, you and I have been seeing these ups and downs in the industry as well. There are also new trends that we're seeing, new markets that are coming out or destinations, but as well, technology is becoming a disruptor in this. You're seeing more and more universities also using their own internal recruiting systems, in some cases sidelining agencies, getting direct applications or using aggregators, and many of them that are coming up. And AI is also here with chatbots and also all sorts of things. Universities are trying, of course, to cut costs on one side by paying less commission and so on, and marketing costs. But what do you think is the importance or the relevance of agencies going forward as we are seeing all these disruptions?
I mean, there's no I understand. They think they can disrupt, but technology cannot replace. It's just a tool. Aggregators, who is behind aggregators? It's a bunch of agents now. It's agents that are still doing the job.
True.
So the agents cannot be replaced. It's impossible. And students, they don't know. They say culture eats strategy for breakfast. In some regions, it might work. Africa, guy, Shey you go and carry aggregator, parents just go and pay school fees without talking to anybody. They want to see the agent, they want to speak the local language, they need to understand. Agents cannot be replaced.
Wow.
AI will just be a tool.
Mm.
You cannot consult with the students by chatting with the student. The student wants to commit how much? 50,000 euros, 40,000 euros, 30,000, 25,000, 15,000 pounds. And you just want to chat your way into it. It's not a low ticket item now. You can't chat your way. You can't AI your way into this. You have to get your hands dirty, and there has to be a lot of reputation that the school has to ride on the agent's reputation and expertise, customer acquisition process and retention process, leverage on the resources on ground, then it can work. So it might be a lot of people have rushed into it and they're rushing back out. Brick and brick and mortar is yet to stay.
True.
So we even use AI better for some certain things to make some things better. Do you understand? But it's a tool.
Yeah. Such an enabling tool, yeah.
The day people start buying houses on maybe apps without talking to anybody, maybe we're in trouble.
Yeah. True. And as for AOC Schengen, where do you see this big brand in the next 10 years from now?
We own our university.
AOC University.
It's inevitable. It will happen one day.
Everything is possible.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Damola. It was really nice catching up with you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your expertise.